It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of August 14th, 1998. We got 6 movies to look at today, so let's not waste any more time. Let's just jump right on into it. And we'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that was How Stella Got Her Groove Back. So, as the trailer indicates, this is based off of a novel by Terry McMillan, the writer of Waiting to Exhale, and actually came out after Waiting to Exhale came out in '95. And here you have Stella Payne, played by Angela Bassett, who's a highly successful 40-something San Francisco stockbroker who is persuaded by her girlfriend Delilah, played by Whoopi Goldberg, to take a well-deserved first-class vacation to Jamaica. As she soaks in the beauty of the island, she encounters a young, strapping islander played by Taye Diggs, and his pursuits for her turn into a hot and steamy romance that forces, okay, you can pretty much tell what this movie is going to be. I don't even need to finish the description to tell you what's going to happen, and honestly, I don't really have much more to say about it because, honestly, I've never seen the film before. It's a film that you've heard, is like, even if you haven't seen the movie, you've heard about it before. Like, Family Guy has made jokes about it, The Simpsons has made jokes about this movie, but, the one thing I do know, this is directed by Kevin Rodney Sullivan, who also gave us Barbershop 2, Back in Business, and also Guess Who. And I've seen those movies, and I like those movies, but, like I said, I haven't seen this one before. I don't hear too many bad things about it, per se. I think the performances enough carry it through. But again, not really much there I can really say about the film itself because I've never seen it before. But from what I've seen from the trailers, it doesn't look bad, per se. I mean, it's got a great cast. I mean, Angela Bassett, Taye Diggs, Whoopi Goldberg, Regina King. When anything with Regina King in it is going to be watchable because of her. Glenn Turman is also in here as well. Victor Garber has a cameo in here. So there are people in here that make me kind of want to see the film, but like I said, I haven't really seen it, so I can't really say if it's any good or not, but I've not heard any bad things about it, so I'm going to assume it's probably not a bad movie, just from the stuff I've heard about it, but certainly can't say the same thing for our next movie, which I have seen, and yeah, don't let this trailer fool you. This movie's pretty bad. This is The Avengers. Would you believe that this is Sean Connery's biggest regret he's probably ever made? And this is the guy that did The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But at least that film at least lets him leave with some dignity to it, even though he was the producer on that. This film, not so much. I mean, just wow. I mean, that trailer completely lies to you. It gives you the stylized looking trailer, and it makes it look like it's kind of an interesting concept, but not so much, and you can probably tell that this is not based off the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is based off of the British TV series of the same name from the 1960s, where you have John Steed and Emma Peel, played here by Ray Fiennes and Uma Thurman, going up against a mad scientist, played by Sean Connery, who's bent on controlling the world's weather. And it would be, I mean, think of it. Look at it this way, Britain. You were is Lost in Space wasn't the only TV show to get completely destroyed by a movie in the 1990s. You guys got the Avengers destroyed for you, big time with this film, and oh boy, this is a mess. This is a mess on so many different levels, not just from a story writing level, not just from an acting level, but just an idea from all the ideas this movie throws at you, like you cannot take this film threatening whatsoever. Sean Connery, God bless him, he's trying the best he can, but even he can't hold this for too much. All the stupidity of this movie, is like there's so many moments in here where he's asked to do some of the stupidest things ever. There's a scene in the movie where, I kid you not, he establishes a group of people, these highly, I can't remember what it was, but it was like a highly, like they go into this, it's like they go to this building where he owns, Wonderland Weather, and everyone's dressed up in teddy bear suits. How am I supposed to find that threatening? And Sean Connery, I have to think that Sean Connery looked at this and said, do we really want to go through with this, guys? And like, it's just so stupid, and it's even stupider than that. There's this whole subplot about another Emma Peel, who is clearly the person that is clearly a clone and used by somebody within this ministry, who's a backstabber, and you can kind of figure it out pretty quickly who the backstabber is, but doesn't really make a whole lot of sense there. They have these these mechanical bees that I swear something out of John Peters when he was so desperate to get Superman to fight a mechanical spider. Like, his name's not attached to this, but you can just tell that his name his presence was there, and like, it just gets so stupid. It would be something if the cast was more than enough to carry it, but But no, like, Ray Fiennes and Uma Thurman, all they do in this movie is just banter. They have no emotions, and they just have no personality to them whatsoever. I've never seen the original TV series, but I have to assume that the original John Steen and Emma Peel had at least some chemistry to them, had at least something to keep you invested in watching the show, because it ran for 8 seasons. Like this, I don't get why they have no emotions whatsoever. Like, they have no emotions throughout the course of the movie. You feel nothing for them whatsoever. I mean, they're trying their best, but how do you try your best when you have no emotions in this performance whatsoever? It's just, it gets so ridiculous. There's an invisible man in here because there was an invisible man that was in an episode of the show, which you could clearly tell that these people had no idea what the TV show was about and saw it, because if that's one of the things that you have to throw in there, because this character, this invisible man, was in a one-off episode of the show, it's just like, what else do I need to say about this movie? It's directed by the guy who did Christmas Vacation, too, because, I don't know, like, why not? I mean, this is the same guy that gave us such masterpieces as Diabolique, and yeah, like, this makes no sense whatsoever. Nothing about this movie makes any sense whatsoever. I've never seen the TV show, but let me tell you, if I was a fan of the TV show, I'd be pissed off at the way that they destroyed this TV show, because my God, like, nothing happens in the movie. Nothing happens so much that literally there's nobody else in London. Like, how do you have nobody in London? London, England, what is a prime travel destination, and there's nobody on the streets whatsoever. They didn't give a crap about this movie at all, not at all. And you cannot convince me that they did. That there was some kind of idea that they did care, but no. There's no care given to this movie whatsoever. It tells you that this movie got pushed to the dumping ground month of August. Remember, August used to be a dumping ground month because, the summer movie season had just come to an end. Everyone's gone to see the big blockbusters, so whatever gets thrown here is just usually a piece of garbage back then. Nowadays, not the case. Nowadays, they actually do put their effort into putting stuff out every single week now, but back then, yeah, this was dead on arrival, and Warner Brothers knew it was bad. It was bad on so many levels. It just makes no sense. This whole movie is a disaster, and it's one of the worst movies you'll ever see. It's one of the worst things that you can easily sit through. Like, not even easily sit through. At 90 minutes, it's a struggle to sit through this garbage. That's how bad this movie is, that you can't sit there for an hour and a half to enjoy this movie, and you can't even do that. Like, just terrible movie. I'm just stretching time here, so what more do I need to say? Avengers, garbage movie. Just stick with the Marvel one. So, here's some more garbage for you. Air Bud Golden Receiver. Because it doesn't say in the rulebook that a dog can't play football. I mean, when are we going to get to the Air Bud movie where a dog kills a human being, and someone realizes, oh, we can't arrest him because it doesn't say anywhere in the book that a dog can't kill somebody with a gun. And, like how many more of these? Like, they made so many of these Air Bud movies where this thing can be completely okay because there's no rules in any of the books that say a dog can't play sports, and it's just like, we just did it for everything. They did one about hockey, they did one about soccer, they did one about, I'm pretty sure there's one about baseball, and then after that, what else is there to do except just make a movie out of the puppies, and then after that, just spin it off into another series of films with the Santa Paws series. My God, there are so many different Air Bud movies here. It's like they're giving the Land Before Time movies they're giving the Land Before Time movies a chance to catch up to them, and that's just a shame, man. And this movie is just, what more do you need to say, man? The first movie wasn't even that great to begin with, and it's more the same, and even worse than that. Like, what else do I even need to say? It's Air Bud Golden Receiver. If you don't know what you're going into before you even enter the building, then you have a problem. And but hey, you get to see Warren Moon and Joey Galloway in here, I guess, because they go to a Seahawks game. So, I guess that's something, 1998, so, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Let's go ahead and move on to, hopefully, a much better movie after the last two films we've looked at. Return to Paradise. It's a little bit better. Actually, far from it. I think it's actually much better than the last two movies we looked at. You basically have three friends sharing an exciting vacation in Malaysia full of fun, drinks, women, and hash. When the vacation's over, each have dreams of continuing their lives, and they all go their separate ways. But one of them, played by Joaquin Phoenix, is still in the tropical paradise to fulfill a dream of working with apes for research. And 2 years later, a lawyer, played by Anne Hesh, comes to New York and hunts down the other two friends to give some sad news. A few days after they left the island, police raided their camp and found amazingly large quantities of hash around, and Phoenix was still residing there, so he had to take the blame, and he is set to be put to death in 8 days, and the only way the charges can be decreased is if the two friends come back to paradise and take their share of the responsibilities. If they do, they will both spend 3 years in prison. If only one does, he will spend 6 years behind bars. So there is kind of an intriguing concept here. This is a remake of a 1989 French film called Force Majeure, which I've never heard of that movie before, but I guess this is sort of... it plays kind of a very interesting concept here, where you have three friends. One of them's about to be in prison for a long time, and the other two have to come back in order to save this guy, to basically save this guy's life, and you don't know what is going to happen at this point. Once it's all said and done. And I gotta give the movie credit for really taking some good twists and turns here. I did not expect this to go the way I thought it was going to, especially from this director, Joseph Rubin, who's made some notoriously bad films. Sleeping with the Enemy, The Good Son, Money Train. He also did The Stepfather in the 80s. So he's not been a great director, but it's one of the few films where he's actually made a pretty decent film, and has a nice twist at the end that you don't really see coming. I like the way it kind of wraps everything up. It's a well-done film. I'd actually say definitely check it out. It's definitely worth a watch if you can find it. So, with that said, on to the next movie, and that is Slums of Beverly Hills. So you have a story following a teenage girl played by Natasha Lyonne, who's struggling to grow up in 1976 in a lower-middle-class nomadic Jewish family that relocates every few months. So you have her, Marissa Tomei, Alan Arkin, David Krumholtz, Kevin Corrigan, Jessica Walter, and Carl Reiner among the cast here. This is written and directed by Tamara Jenkins, who did The Savages, which is a great film with Philip Seymour Hoffman and Laura Linney in it. But I have never seen this movie, and this is the film that kind of introduced the world to Natasha Lyonne before she eventually broke out with American Pie. In fact, Mina Savari, who's in the American Pie movies as well, is also in here as well. Also Rita Moreno, Eli Marienthal. It's got a good cast overall. I've just never seen the film. It's a film I've been wanting to see for a long time, though. I've wanted to check it out for a while. I've just never gotten around to checking it out. But I definitely want to see it at some point. If I can find it somewhere at a good price, I'll definitely check it out. But it's a film I'm definitely very curious about. So not much more to say about that one. That's Slums of Beverly Hills. So on to the last movie, which is Behind the Lines, or Regeneration, whichever place you go to online. Yeah, in Britain it was called Regeneration, but in the U.S. it's called Behind the Lines. So you basically have stories of the number of officers of the British Army during World War I who are brought together in a Craig Lockhart War Hospital where they're treated for various traumas. It follows the story of Siegfried Sassoon, his open letter reprinted in the Times criticizing the conduct of war and his return to the front. You have Jonathan Pryce among the cast, as well as Johnny Lee Miller and John Neville. And that's pretty much everything I know about this one, because I've never seen it before. This is directed by Gillies McKinnon, who did A Simple Twist of Fate, which we talked about before in the past. Is it a she or he? He, okay. Simple Twist of Fate's the only film that I know of his that I've seen of his, but yeah, I don't know about anything else that he's done. I think he also did. No, I thought he did Trojan War, but that was another film that he did, Trojan Eddie. But like I said, I don't really have anything more to say about it, because honestly, I've never seen the film, so I can't really say if it's any good or not. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Regeneration. So with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. When we meet next time, 8 movies to look at, including some notable films. Wesley Snipes in Blade, Mark Paul Gosselaar and Tom Everett Scott in Dead Man on Campus, Dance With Me with Vanessa Williams, Leslie Nielsen in the comedy Wrongfully Accused, Your Friends and Neighbors, Strike, Next Stop Wonderland, and The Eel. So 8 films to look at, and we'll deal with those on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I am off. I will see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.